The rain came down in sheets, cold and merciless, turning the cobblestone driveway into a shallow river of mud and shame. Nia Wallace stood, crouched, outside the tall, wrought-iron gates of the suburban mansion she had called home for 5 years. Her black wool coat, the one Ethan had bought her for their 3rd anniversary, was already soaked through and heavy with clay. Water streamed from her braided hair into her eyes, mixing with tears she could no longer tell apart from the rain. 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that was what the car dashboard had shown when she pulled into the garage 20 minutes earlier. Now it felt 10 degrees colder because every degree of warmth had been stolen from her body by the man who once promised to protect her from exactly this kind of night. Sleep in the car tonight. My mother needs your bed. Ethan's voice still echoed in her skull, flat, final, the same tone he used when telling the housekeeper the silver needed polishing again. He had said it while shoving her backward with both hands. Not a violent push, but deliberate, enough force to send her stumbling off the porch steps and into the saturated flower bed. She had landed hard on her palms and knees. The impact jolted up her arms. Mud instantly soaked through the knees of her slacks. When she tried to stand, her hands slid uselessly on the slick surface. She looked more like a child playing in dirt than a 32-year-old certified internal auditor with 6 figures in savings and a husband, who kissed her cheek that very morning before leaving for the office. Now the porch light framed him perfectly under the wide awning, dry, clean, arms folded. He was already dusting his palms as though touching her had contaminated him more than the mud ever could. Are you deaf? He shouted over the drumming rain. I said you're not coming inside. Mom is tired from her trip. She needs rest, not you hovering. Nia finally managed to rise on trembling legs. Her teeth chattered so violently the words came out broken. Ethan, have you lost your mind? It's freezing. Let me in. I'll sleep in the guest room. The guest room is drafty, he snapped, cutting her off. Mom wanted to put her luggage there, but she decided it wouldn't be comfortable. She's taking our bedroom. She needs the orthopedic mattress. Her back is killing her after the train. And me? Nia took one shaky step toward the porch. Where exactly am I supposed to sleep? I told you clearly. In the car. He gestured vaguely toward the white sedan parked beside the garage. The seats fold down. One night. It won't kill you. You can bear it for my mother. He turned and reached for the heavy front door. Ethan! She lunged forward, desperate, furious, terrified. He didn't even glance back. The door slammed shut inches from her face. She heard the deadbolt slide home. Then the second lock, the one they only used when leaving for vacation, clicked into place. Nia pounded both fists against the oak. Open up! I'm freezing! Ethan! Silence answered her. The foyer light switched off. A few seconds later, the master bedroom light came on upstairs. Through the rain-streaked glass, she saw Serena. Holloway's silhouette moved to the window. The older woman adjusted the curtain with slow, deliberate movements. She never once looked down at the daughter-in-law shivering in the downpour. That was when Nia understood. This was not a cruel joke. This was policy. She spun and ran toward her car, slipping twice on the wet stones. At least inside she could turn on the heater, dry her coat, think. She yanked the driver's door handle. Locked. She patted her pockets frantically. No keys, of course. Her handbag, containing keys, phone, wallet, was still sitting on the foyer console table, where she had dropped it when she walked in 20 minutes ago, still believing this was her house. The car's headlights flashed once. The alarm chirped twice, short, mocking. Nia looked up. Ethan stood at the upstairs window, remote in hand. He pressed the lock button again while staring straight into her eyes. Ethan, give me the keys, she screamed, voice cracking. I'm going to freeze to death. He didn't answer. He simply drew the heavy blackout curtain, closed and disappeared into the warm bedroom light. Nia pressed her back against the cold metal of the car door and slid slowly down until she sat in a growing puddle. Despair settled over her like a second skin, thick, suffocating. Her body was already going numb from the ankles up. Her mind had nothing left to plan with. Only the animal certainty remained. Cold kills. She hugged her knees and tried to stop shaking. That was when the xenon headlights appeared. 2 bright spears slicing through the darkness at the end of the street. A black SUV approached fast. Didn't slow for the puddle at the gate. Sent a bow wave of muddy water crashing against the fence, then braked sharply right in front of her. The driver's door flew open before the engine even died. Marcus Holloway stepped out into the storm. He wore no umbrella, no raincoat over his cashmere overcoat. Rain darkened the expensive wool instantly, but he didn't seem to register it. His stride was heavy, furious. His jaw was locked so tight the muscles stood out in cords. He saw Nia sitting in the mud and froze for half a second. His gaze flicked to the lit master bedroom window, then back to his daughter-in-law. From upstairs, Ethan opened the sash. "Dad!" he shouted, panic already bleeding into his voice. "Dad, why are you here?" "It's Nia. She's throwing a fit. I was just—" Marcus didn't lift his head toward his son. He stepped straight into the sloppy flower bed, ruining shoes that cost more than most people's monthly rent. He bent, caught Nia under the elbows, and lifted her to her feet with surprising gentleness. For a man built like an old linebacker, she swayed. He held her steady, hands hot against her freezing arms. "Dad, don't listen to her!" Ethan wailed from the window. "Mom just asked for some quiet." Marcus slowly raised his face. Rain ran in rivulets down his cheeks, but the look in his eyes was more terrifying than any storm. "I was driving to file for divorce from your mother," he said. His courtroom baritone rolled out over the rain like distant thunder. "But now I have a new goal." He paused just long enough for the words to land. "I will be your wife's lawyer." Ethan's mouth hung open. Marcus turned Nia gently toward the passenger door of the SUV. "Get in the car, honey. We're going to leave them destitute through the courts." Nia, still in shock, teeth still chattering, obeyed automatically. She climbed into the high leather seat. The cabin smelled of expensive tobacco and heated seats. Warmth wrapped around her immediately. Marcus slammed the door, circled the vehicle, got behind the wheel, and, without another glance at the house, floored the accelerator. The SUV lunged forward, spitting gravel. For several long minutes they drove in silence. Water dripped from Nia's clothes onto the floor mat. Her body shook in violent spasms. Marcus kept one hand on the wheel. With the other, he pulled out his phone and dialed. "Northside Private Medical. Center. Emergency. I have a passenger with hypothermia. Prepare a room. Yes, I'm paying cash." He hung up. In the soft glow of the dashboard, his face looked carved from granite. "Marcus, Mr. Holloway?" Nia's teeth clattered. "Why? Why are you here? You were supposed to be on a business trip." "I wasn't on a business trip, Nia." His voice was harsh, frayed at the edges. "I didn't just show up at my son's house tonight for no reason." He gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles bleached white. "This morning I was checking my accounts. I'm an old paranoid fool, you know that. I check every movement every single day." A muscle jumped in his jaw. "I found a transaction Serena tried to hide. $200,000. She told me a week ago she was going to New York for a business seminar. To brush up her skills, I believed her." The SUV whipped around a corner. Marcus kept the wheel rock steady. "But the money didn't go to New York," he continued, voice trembling now with barely contained rage. "It went to St. Jude's private maternity wing. Right here, payment for a VIP suite." Nia stopped shivering. The meaning pierced slowly through the fog of shock. "She got sick?" she asked quietly. Marcus gave a bitter, mirthless laugh. "No, honey. She didn't get sick." He turned to look at her. In the dashboard light, she saw pain and murder in equal measure. "I called the chief administrator. Threatened them with a state attorney's investigation. They told me who my wife had really been visiting." He swallowed once. "Serena wasn't at a seminar. She was sitting beside a new mother's bedside." Nia's breath caught. "Ethan has a mistress, Nia, and Serena knew about it for months. She paid for the birth with my money. This morning your husband had a son, a boy I was never supposed to know existed. The news should have crushed her. Instead, it felt like ice water poured over burning skin, painful but clarifying. The heartbroken wife disappeared. The chief auditor woke up. Nia straightened in the seat. "Take me to your place, Marcus," she said. Her voice was rough but suddenly firm. "I need a computer and reliable internet. Right now." Marcus gave one short nod, respect, flickering in his eyes, and pressed the accelerator harder. 40 minutes later, they pulled into the underground garage of his downtown penthouse. It was quiet, sterile, nothing like the cluttered, antique-filled house she had shared with Ethan and Serena. Nia didn't ask for a shower, even though her clothes clung to her like a second. Filthy skin. She dropped the soaked coat in the foyer and walked straight to Marcus's home office. She sat at the wide glass desk, powered on the all-in-one computer, and cracked her knuckles. "Password?" Marcus asked, handing her a glass of water. "I don't need your passwords," she answered. She typed the web address for the Holloway family's shared cloud storage. "I need Ethan's, and he's an idiot. He uses one password for everything." She entered Serena's birthday digits. The system paused, then let her in. The entire financial life of the Holloway family opened before her like a book. Joint accounts, credit cards, savings, investment portfolios. Ethan, arrogant, certain of his impunity, hadn't even changed the access codes after throwing her out into the rain. He was too busy upstairs, probably toasting with his mother. Marcus stood behind her chair. "What are you looking for?" "I'm not looking," Nia murmured, fingers already flying. "I'm acting." She logged into the main online banking portal. Here it is. The family account. Serena's platinum card is tied to Ethan's sub-account. Limits wide open. A small, dangerous smile touched her lips. "Marital property law," she said aloud, mostly to herself. "Assets acquired during marriage are community property. Until a court rules otherwise, I have exactly the same right to manage this money that he does." She didn't withdraw a cent. That would look like theft. Instead, she went into security settings. Card blocked due to suspected compromise. Click. All linked accounts frozen pending in-person identity verification. Click. Daily ATM withdrawal limit, $0. Click. The screen flashed green. Changes saved. Nia leaned back in the chair. "Sleep tight, sweetheart," she whispered toward the ceiling. "Your mommy is going to have a very rough morning." The morning did not begin with coffee or quiet. It began with the sharp, humiliated shriek of Serena Holloway, echoing through the marble-floored atrium of Empress Furs, the city's most exclusive luxury salon. Serena stood before a towering three-way mirror, wrapped in a dark sable coat so lush it seemed to drink the light. The fur rippled like liquid midnight every time she turned. A young sales assistant hovered nearby, murmuring compliments like prayers. "It looks absolutely incredible on you. Mrs. Holloway, exclusive model. Your son said not to spare any expense." A celebration for the new grandson. Serena's lips curved in smug satisfaction. She felt invincible. The parasite daughter-in-law had been evicted into the rain. The grandson had arrived safely. Marcus would grumble about the cost. Of course, he always did. But he would never leave. He never had. "I'll take it," she declared. And that had as well. She tossed her black platinum card onto the glass counter with casual royalty. The assistant picked it up reverently, swiped it through the terminal. Beep! A long, uncomfortable pause. The girl frowned and tried again. Beep, longer this time. Then a nasty electronic squeal. "I'm sorry, ma'am." The assistant's voice had lost half its silk. "It says declined. Insufficient funds, or the card is blocked." Serena's smile froze. "What nonsense is this?" "It's unlimited. This is your bank's mistake." She felt eyes turning, other high society women in the salon. Women who knew her name, her address, her annual charity gala donations. Whispers began like distant bees. "Try the other one," Serena snapped, yanking a second card from her Hermes handbag. Her fingers trembled just enough to notice. Beep! Declined. "Please contact your bank, madam. The terminal is working perfectly." The previous customer's payment just cleared. Someone in the queue behind her let out a quiet, delighted snicker. That small sound cut deeper than any insult Serena had ever endured. Face burning crimson, she tore the sable coat from her shoulders as though it had betrayed her, flung it onto the counter and stormed out, phone already to her ear. "Ethan!" She screamed into the line so loudly that pedestrians on the sidewalk flinched. "That trash blocked my accounts. Do something immediately." 2 hours later, Naya sat in Marcus's private office at Holloway & Associates, surrounded by 3 years of printed bank statements. She had showered, changed into one of Marcus's spare shirts and a pair of his slacks cinched with a belt, but the cold still lingered in her bones like memory. Marcus worked at the desk beside her, drafting the initial divorce petition with the calm fury of a man writing an execution order. The office door burst open without a knock. 2 uniformed officers entered first, followed by a heavy-set man in plain clothes, Detective Sergeant Riley, face flushed, smirk already in place. Behind them loomed Ethan, pale and furious, pointing a trembling finger straight at Nia. "That's her. Arrest her." Marcus rose slowly, placing himself between Nia and the intruders like a shield. "What is the meaning of this, gentlemen? You barge into a private law firm on what grounds?" Riley's smirk widened. "Grand larceny complaint. Counselor, Mr. Holloway here states that Ms. Wallace, upon being removed from the residence last night, stole family jewelry, an emerald, necklace and diamond, earrings valued at approximately $5 million. Nia stood. Her heart hammered, but her mind remained arctic. "I didn't take anything," she said evenly. "Search her purse, her pockets," Ethan commanded. "She definitely hid them." "No need," Nia replied. She picked up a tablet from the desk. "Ethan, you seem to have forgotten I completed the full property inventory for the insurance company 3 months ago. I'm a certified auditor. My reports carry legal weight." She turned the screen toward Riley. Here is the digital inventory, every piece photographed, cataloged, assigned a unique insurance code. And here is the safe access log. The last opening was yesterday at 6:09 p.m. Ethan's fingerprint. I left the house at 9:00 p.m. and never approached the safe again. She tapped twice more. Furthermore, all high-value jewelry has GPS trackers, insurance requirement. Look, detective. A red dot pulsed on a city map. The items are currently at 7 Hampton Forest Road. That's your weekend retreat? Ethan, you're fabricating a case. Silence thickened the room. Marcus let out a low, approving chuckle. Ethan blinked rapidly, gaze darting from tablet to detective. But Riley didn't glance at the screen. He pulled a folded sheet from his inside pocket, smoothed it deliberately on Marcus's polished desk. That's all very interesting, Ms. Wallace, he drawled. But we have a far more serious document. Marcus frowned, reaching for the paper. Riley covered it with his palm. This morning we received a complaint from Serena Holloway and your son. They report erratic behavior by Nia Wallace, hysteria, suicidal threats, aggression toward family members. That's a lie, Nia exclaimed. And this, Riley continued, lifting his hand, is the conclusion from the chief psychiatrist at City Clinic No. 1. Nia stared at the official form, stamps, signatures, today's date. Acute psychotic disorder. Patient presents danger to self and others. Incapable of managing personal affairs. Based on this medical evaluation, Riley said, each word landing like a nail, and pursuant to statute on temporary incapacity, Ethan Holloway is granted immediate guardianship and full power of attorney over Ms. Wallace's personal property and accounts. Ethan's face lit with triumph. He stepped forward, took the tablet from Nia's suddenly weak hands, and powered it off. You're sick, darling, he said with syrupy, false sympathy. You shouldn't worry about money. I'll unblock the accounts myself. And you're going to get help. If you don't fight us. Marcus remained silent, staring at the forged certificate. He knew bureaucratic walls like this could not be demolished in minutes. Nia understood the same thing. Her clever account freeze had just been nullified by a single piece of paper. She hadn't merely been robbed. She had been legally declared insane. Marcus didn't waste breath arguing with Riley. The moment the police and Ethan left, he snatched his desk phone. His voice was dry, dangerous, like branches snapping underfoot. Stephen, Marcus Holloway, urgent. I have a forged psychiatric opinion on my daughter-in-law signed by your deputy chief. If this isn't voided in the next 10 minutes, I bring up those 10-year-old zoning violations on your summer home in the Lake District. Yes, I'm threatening you. I'll wait. He slammed the receiver down and turned to Nia. We'll get the psychiatric hold canceled, he growled, rubbing his temples. But the power of attorney is trickier. It will take days, maybe weeks, for a court to invalidate it. Nia was already on her phone, checking her personal banking app. The screen flashed red. Too late. He already transferred everything, she said softly, staring at the zero balances. My personal savings, my emergency deposit, even the payroll card I kept separate. All moved to his account 5 minutes ago. She lifted empty eyes to Marcus. I have nothing left, not even bus fare. Marcus's gaze hardened. You have rage, he said, and you have work to do. You'll live here, in the office. There's a pull-out couch in the archive room, a shower in the staff bathroom, coffee machine that never sleeps. This is your command center now. And so it began. Nia turned the firm's largest conference room into a war room. Tables vanished under printouts, flowcharts, transaction timelines. Whiteboards filled with money trails drawn in red and black marker. She slept 4 hours a night on the archive couch, ate instant noodles from the break room vending machine, and dug. She needed to know where the family money had truly gone for the last decade. If Ethan was merely a spoiled fool, Serena was something far more dangerous, a patient, calculating thief. Nia downloaded 10 years of Serena's credit, card statements, terabytes of luxury spending, boutiques in Paris, spas in Switzerland, private jets to Aspen. But buried among the extravagance was a pattern only an auditor would notice. Every 5th of the month, without fail, a fixed payment left the account. The amount fluctuated, $50,000, $100,000, sometimes $200,000. But the payee never changed. Vector LLC, Purpose, Consulting Services. Nia entered the company name into every public database she could access. Shell Corporation. Registered address, an industrial zone on the city outskirts. Founder, one Yvette Rybakova. The surname struck like memory lightning. Yvette. College sophomore year. Dorm roommate. Best friend. The girl who dreamed aloud of building empires and swore. She would never become just another housewife. Yvette had vanished from Nia's life. 5 years ago, said she was moving to New York to start a business. Nia had even envied her courage back then. So, a business in New York? Nia muttered, printing the registered address. It wasn't an industrial zone at all. It was a crumbling 5-story walk-up. In a neighborhood even cab drivers refused after dark. An hour later, Nia stood before the peeling door on the 5th floor. The elevator hadn't worked in years. The hallway reeked of damp concrete and old cat urine. She rang the bell. Footsteps. A click at the peephole. Who is it? The voice was guarded but achingly familiar. Yvette, it's Nia. Open up. I know about Vector. The lock clanged. The door opened a crack. Yvette stood there, not the vibrant, ambitious girl Nia remembered, but a shadow. Dark circles under bloodshot eyes. Hair unwashed, sweater stretched and faded. She stepped back silently, letting Nia enter the narrow, box-cluttered hallway. I knew you'd come someday, Yvette said quietly, avoiding eye contact. Serena said you were too stupid to dig this deep, but I remembered how you aced audit class. Nia walked into the tiny kitchen. A half-empty bottle of cheap red wine and an overflowing ashtray sat on the scarred table. Are you Ethan's mistress? Nia asked bluntly. Yvette gave a brittle, nervous laugh and lit a cigarette with shaking hands. Ethan? God, no. That mama's boy makes me nauseous. No, Nia, I work for your mother-in-law. Nia felt the pieces snap together. You're the laundry. You move the money she's been stealing from Marcus. I help her move assets, Yvette corrected, exhaling smoke toward the cracked ceiling. Serena found me 5 years ago. I'd lost my startup, drowned in debt. She offered a deal. She clears my loans. I become nominal director of her shell companies. Why? Nia pressed. She has everything. A millionaire husband, the house, the status. Yvette looked at Nia with something close to pity. You never really understood the family you married into. Serena never believed Marcus would stay forever. She was building an escape hatch, a massive cushion stuffed with his money, that he didn't even know was missing. Nia walked to the table and slammed her palm down. How much did she take? Where is it? The money's gone, Yvette said flatly. Real estate, stocks, offshore accounts, everything registered to Vector. And Vector belongs to me, on paper. But Serena holds a general power of attorney. I'm just the front. A stand-in. You betrayed me, Nia whispered. We were friends, and you helped that witch rob my family. I was surviving, Yvette shouted, tears spilling. I didn't have a husband handing me money. Nobody gave me a silver platter. Yes, I took her cut. She paid me a percentage per transfer. And the funniest part? I can't even spend it. She keeps me on a leash. Step wrong, and she turns me in as a fraud. Nia stared at her former friend and felt only cold disgust. I need the documents, Yvette. Everything you have on Vector. Yvette waved toward the bedroom. Closet, boxes, take it all. I'm tired of being afraid. I'd rather you put me away than let her kill me. Nia entered the small bedroom. The closet was stuffed floor to ceiling with file boxes. She pulled one at random, labeled real estate, opened it. The first document made her heart stutter. She read it twice, breath shallow. Yvette? She shouted. Her former friend appeared in the doorway, leaning tiredly against the frame. What? Nia held up the sales contract. This building, Marcus's law firm on Wacker Drive, 5 stories. The jewel of his practice. Yvette gave a twisted half-smile. The crown jewel, yes. The contract was dated 5 years ago. Seller, Marcus Holloway. Buyer, Vector LLC. Sale price, $10,000. How? Nia breathed. Marcus would never sell his life's work for $10,000 to a shell company. He owns that building. He thinks he owns it, Yvette said softly. Remember 5 years ago, his heart attack? He was in ICU, heavily medicated. Serena brought him papers to sign. Told him they were medical consents, clinic bills. He signed a general power of attorney for asset management and alienation. She paused. The next day, she sold the building to my company. Technically, Marcus has been renting his own office from his wife for 5 years. She can evict him whenever she wants. Nia sank to the floor, clutching the folder to her chest. This wasn't just theft. This was annihilation. If Marcus learned he had been a tenant in his own castle all this time, his pride, his independence, his legacy reduced to a monthly rent check paid to his own wife, it would kill him faster than any infarction. She's holding it as her ace, Yvette whispered. In case of divorce. The divorce already started, Nia said, rising. The cold fire was back in her eyes. And she's about to play that card. I need to reach Marcus before she sends the eviction notice. She grabbed the heaviest box of documents and rushed for the door without another word. Yvette remained in the hallway, watching her go with bleak, envious eyes. Nia wasn't running to save herself. She was running to save the only person who had pulled her from the mud. But she didn't know a courier carrying Vector. LLC's eviction notice was already en route to Wacker Drive. Nia drove like the devil was riding shotgun. Marcus's black SUV screamed down the highway toward Wacker Drive, the box of Vector documents bouncing violently on the passenger seat beside her. Every red light felt like a personal insult. She had to reach him before the eviction notice landed. Before Serena could publicly humiliate the man who had saved her from freezing in the mud. But when she rounded the final corner onto Wacker, her stomach dropped. A crowd had already gathered outside, the stately limestone facade of Holloway and Associates. Reporters with cameras and microphones, curious pedestrians, and, worst of all, movers in gray overalls carrying out cardboard boxes, leather desk chairs, even Marcus's beloved fiddle-leaf fig plant. Nia abandoned the SUV in the middle of the street, hazards flashing, and sprinted toward the entrance, shoving through bodies. "What's happening?" "Let me through!" In the center of the chaos stood Serena Holloway. She wore the new sable coat, somehow already, purchased on another card, and radiated cold triumph. Beside her, a uniformed court bailiff read aloud into a cluster of news microphones. "Only due to termination of the lease agreement by the property owner, Vector LLC, the firm is required to vacate the premises immediately." Marcus stood alone on the wide stone steps, coatless gray hair whipped by the wind. He looked smaller than Nia had ever seen him, clutching a copy of the sales contract Serena had just thrust into his hands. "Serena," he said quietly, voice carrying despite the murmur of the crowd. "What are you doing?" "This is my home, my practice. I built this for 30 years. Serena stepped closer, smiling for the cameras. "It's business, Marcus. You taught me yourself, nothing personal." She raised her voice. "You defaulted on rent. The new owner has decided to reprofile the building. It will become a luxury spa for mothers and children." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Cameras zoomed in on Marcus's ashen face. "You stole this from me when I was dying," he choked out, hand pressing to his chest. "I saved the assets from your incompetence," Serena snarled, mask slipping. "And take your little parasite with you." She jabbed a finger toward Nia, who had just broken through the front line. In that instant, Marcus's legs buckled. Nia lunged forward and caught him before he hit the stone. "Marcus, someone call an ambulance!" he gasped, squeezing her hand with desperate strength. "Nia, don't give up." The documents. Paramedics arrived within minutes. They loaded him onto a stretcher, oxygen mask pressed to his face. Reporters filmed every second. The fall of the city's most feared attorney reduced to a frail man under flashing lights. Serena watched with icy satisfaction. Nia tried to climb into the ambulance. "Family only," the paramedic snapped, slamming the doors. "Who are you?" he added. Nia froze. Who was she now? The wife of a son who had betrayed his father. Legally, nothing. The ambulance sped away. Serena approached, heels clicking like gunfire on stone. "Well, darling," she hissed. "Game over. No money, no home. Your protector is about to die in the ICU. Get out before I have you arrested for vagrancy." Nia met her eyes, no fear, only cold calculation. "You haven't won, Serena," she said quietly. "You just pissed off the accountant." She turned and walked away. She needed a new angle. Marcus was incapacitated. Legal battles over the building would take years. Vector was technically clean. The power of attorney was real. The signature Marcus's own, albeit obtained by fraud. The courts wouldn't move fast enough. She had to strike where Serena was most vulnerable. Reputation, status, the grandson she paraded as her legacy. Nia returned to the SUV and pulled a printout from the glove compartment. One she'd made back at the office while tracing transactions. Beyond the maternity suite payment, there were regular transfers to Montauk, Pines Retreat. Center, a gated wellness facility an hour outside the city. Purpose, wellness procedures. Patient, C. Jenkins, Chloe Jenkins. The mistress, the mother. Why was a new mother at a locked-down retreat instead of home with her infant? Why was Serena, not Ethan, paying the bills? Nia stopped at a hardware store with the last cash in her coat pocket. She bought the cheapest blue janitor's uniform, a bucket, mop, rubber gloves, and a plain bandana. 2 hours later, she parked a mile from Montauk Pines, tucked her hair under the bandana, wiped off her makeup, and walked to the staff entrance with cleaning supplies. A delivery van was unloading crates. "Hey, new girl," the driver called. "Shift manager's losing it. Get inside before she sees you." Nia nodded mutely and slipped through the service door. The retreat felt like a luxury prison. Cameras everywhere, magnetic locks on doors, hushed staff in scrubs. She mopped corridors, moving upward to the third-floor VIP wing per the evacuation map in the lobby. At the end of the hallway sat a security guard, broad, bored, scrolling on his phone. Nia mopped closer.
"Hey, lady," he grunted.
"Don't clean here. She's sleeping." Screamed all night, finally quiet. "Got it," Nia whispered, pitching her voice lower. "Just grabbing the vestibule trash." He waved her off. She slipped into the small antechamber. The door to the suite was ajar. A low, broken whimper drifted out. Nia peered inside. A very young woman, barely more than a girl, sat on the edge of the bed. Pale, eyes sunken. Puncture marks dotted her inner arms from repeated IVs. She rocked herself, clutching her own elbows. The room was opulent, silk sheets, fresh flowers, but the windows were barred. No phone, no personal items, just a tray of untouched food. Nia stepped in. The girl flinched, pressing against the headboard. "No shots, please," she begged. "I'll be quiet. I'll sign. Just don't—" Nia pulled off the bandana. "Chloe," she said softly. "I'm not a nurse. I'm Ethan's wife." Chloe's eyes widened in terror. "Did you come to kill me? Serena said if I made a fuss, your wife would destroy me." "Serena is a liar," Nia said harshly. "Where is the baby, Chloe? Where is your son?" Chloe began to sob, covering her face. "They took him right after birth. Serena said I was just a surrogate, that I was nobody, but I didn't sign the release. I wanted my baby." Nia scanned the room. No crib, no baby clothes. "Where is he now?" "At their house. Ethan brought a picture yesterday. Said he's better off with them. Just sign away rights and they'll pay me and let me go. Otherwise I rot here. They're saying I'm crazy." Nia felt ice slide down her spine. This wasn't infidelity. This was felony. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, human trafficking. "Ethan was there too?" Nia asked, already knowing. "He's terrified of her. He stood there while they took the baby. Didn't even let me feed him." Nia pulled her phone from the uniform. Pocket, miraculously not confiscated at entry. "Chloe, listen. I'm turning on the recorder. Tell me everything, from how you met Ethan. The pregnancy, the threats, the birth, them taking the child. Every word. They'll kill me." "They won't," Nia said, taking her cold hand. "This recording becomes your shield and my weapon. We destroy them, I promise." Chloe wiped her eyes and nodded. Nia pressed record. "My name is Chloe Jenkins. I'm being held against my will at Montauk Pines Retreat." Nia listened, heart pounding. In her hand was a bomb. But first, she had to escape alive. As soon as the recording ended, she tucked the phone inside her uniform. "Wait here," she whispered. "Don't sign anything. I'll come back with police." She slipped out past the dozing guard, down to the basement loading dock, abandoned the bucket and mop, and ran to her car. Only when she was miles away did she exhale. She had the ace, but couldn't go straight to police. Detective Riley would bury the evidence and move Chloe, or worse. She needed to fracture them first. Nia dialed Ethan. "Ethan," she said when he answered. "Don't hang up. I have video from Montauk. I spoke to Chloe." Dead silence. "If you don't want this on the DA's desk in 1 hour, not Riley." "The real DA. Meet me at Harbor View Cafe on the waterfront. Alone. No mommy." 20 minutes. She arrived first, chose a window table in plain view of the crowded cafe. Ethan burst in 15 minutes later, disheveled, eyes wild. "You're lying," he hissed, dropping into the chair. "You couldn't get in. Security?" Nia placed her phone on the table, started playback. Chloe's trembling voice filled the space. Ethan paled to gray. He lunged for the phone. Nia covered it. "That's a copy. Original is in the cloud. 1 hour, if I don't cancel, it goes to every newsroom." "What do you want?" He whispered. "My $5 million. The money you stole from my accounts yesterday. Transfer it back, now. Mom tracks everything. And if you don't, Mom finds out you let me reach Chloe, that because of you she's going to prison for kidnapping. 10 years minimum. Think she'll forgive you? We'll cut you out entirely." Ethan's hands shook. He pulled out his phone, opened an app. Nia glimpsed the account name, something offshore, but didn't care. He hit transfer. Her phone chimed. "Funds received, $5,000. "Delete it," he begged. "I won't go to police today," Nia said. "That's my promise. But the recording stays. As insurance, you never come near me again." She stood and walked out. Ethan remained seated, head in hands. Outside, fresh air hit her face. She had her money back. Now she could hire security for Marcus, the best cardiologists, and wage real war. She rounded the corner to her car. 2 men in black suits blocked her path. 2 more behind. "Let's go, Miss Wallace." "I'll scream." arms pinned professionally behind her back. One guard snatched her phone and smashed it under his boot, screen shattered. SIM card exposed. A black limousine purred to the curb. The rear window descended. Serena smiled like a shark scenting blood. How predictable you are, darling. She stepped out, adjusted Nia's collar with mock tenderness. Did you really think my son could act without my permission? He called me the second you set the meeting. Crying, asking what to do. Nia went cold. I told him, go, agree, transfer the money. We catch her in her greed. You kidnapped a person, Nia spat. Serena nodded toward the broken phone. And now you have nothing. But I have something. She played an audio file on her own phone. Nia's voice, edited, spliced. I need the money. 5 million, or I go to the police. The baby, Chloe, I will destroy them. Masterful cut and paste? Nia sounded like a blackmailer extorting ransom by threatening a child. Grand larceny and extortion, Serena purred. Up to 15 years. And you just received marked money after threats, ironclad. That's montage. Forensics will prove, my forensics man will prove whatever I need. Just like the psychiatric hold. Serena leaned close, perfume like rotting flowers. Your choice, Nia, right now. Go to City Hall, file for divorce, sign away all claims, admit the 5 million was a loan you now return as a gift, and vanish from this city forever. Or this goes to the DA in 1 hour. You sit in jail. And while you're there, your beloved father-in-law suffers a tragic second heart attack. Old hearts are fragile. She snapped her fingers. Guards released Nia. Until morning, Serena said, sliding back into the limo. The car glided away. Nia stood over the shattered phone, cornered. The money she thought she'd won had become evidence against her. Chloe's recording, gone. Marcus threatened. But Serena had made one fatal error. She assumed Nia was broken. She didn't know that an accountant in a corner stops counting losses and starts counting mistakes. And one mistake had already been made. That offshore transfer Ethan sent? Nia crouched, gathered the largest shards, salvaged the intact SIM card, stuffed them in her pocket. She trudged to her car. Serena had rushed to frame her, forced Ethan to transfer from the Black Fund, the secret account where they'd hidden Marcus's stolen millions for years. By accepting it, Nia hadn't taken ransom. She'd received a digital breadcrumb straight to Serena's hidden empire. She started the engine and headed for the hospital. Marcus was in ICU, but sitting up, pale but alert. A folder of papers lay on the nightstand. Seeing Nia, he tried to rise. She stopped him. Stay. We need your strength. They took the office, Nia. You lost walls. We still have weapons. She told him everything. The cafe, the blackmail, the smashed phone, the offshore transfer. I memorized the last 8 digits and the BIC, Cyprus Bank. Aphrodite Holdings. I saw that name in Yvette's files. Marcus's eyes sharpened. If we show that in court, they'll claim you're laundering. We don't need court. We need the IRS. Nia leaned in. That account holds tens of millions in untaxed capital. If the IRS learns a prominent attorney's family is hiding money in Cyprus, they'll dismantle everything. Marcus finished. But they'll dismantle Serena first. Leak it anonymously. You have contacts in economic crimes, ones she hasn't bought. Marcus thought. Captain Dixon, he's hated us for years. Thinks we're untouchable. If I give him the Montauk lead and the safe behind the wine cabinet in the basement. He took Nia's spare flip phone. The call was short. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., he said, hanging up. Search warrant. If confirmed, Serena goes to federal holding. Nia spent the night in the bedside chair. She pictured SWAT breaching the mansion doors, Serena in cuffs. At 7 a.m., the phone rang on speaker. Well, Marcus, Dixon's voice was furious ice. Joke or settling scores with my team? What happened? We tore the place apart. Wall behind the wine cabinet, cut open. Office safe drilled. Garage floor, lifted. Nothing. No papers, no drives, no cash. Just dust. An old photo of you and an anniversary card. You made us look like fools. Don't call again. Click! Nia sat stunned. Yvette hadn't lied. The accounts were live. Someone warned Serena. Who knew we called Dixon? Marcus asked quietly. Only us. Were we alone? No. Marcus turned toward the glass partition. In the hallway sat Brenda Cole, his secretary of 20 years. Neat gray bun, crisp suit. She had brought broth, fluffed pillows, overheard everything. Brenda, Marcus whispered. He pressed the nurse call, then shouted her name. She entered, too calm. Brenda, Marcus said bluntly. Did you warn Serena about the search? Silence. Her fingers twisted the hem of her jacket. Brenda? Tears filled her eyes. No remorse, only fanatic hope. She promised Marcus. If I saved the family from scandal, she'd give you a peaceful divorce. No fights, no courts, Nia gasped. And then? Marcus asked, chest tightening. She said you'd be alone, need care, that she wouldn't mind if we... I've loved you 20 years. I waited, tolerated her. She said she was tired of you, just wanted the money. Take him, Brenda. He's yours. Marcus leaned back, eyes closed. You're an idiot, Brenda. She used you. She cleared the safe with your help. You're an accomplice now. Brenda paled. She promised. Showed me the ring she bought for you. Leave. You're fired. She sobbed and fled. Silence fell heavy. Nia walked to the window. We lost the battle. No evidence, no money. Witness compromised. Marcus looked broken. Brenda's betrayal cut deeper than Serena's. Is this the end? He asked. Nia turned. Resolve burned in her eyes. No. If we can't win with law or cunning, we destroy them with truth. Loud, dirty, public. She told him about Serena's press conference. Tomorrow, announcing a charitable foundation in the grandson's name to rehabilitate her image after the office scandal. The whole city will watch. I'll be there too. Marcus looked alarmed. Dangerous, Nia. They might kill you on sight. Let them try. I have nothing left to lose. They already took my bed. She pulled a flash drive from her coat, the SIM card data salvaged before the phone died. Photos of Chloe, medical chart scan, account statements saved to cloud before the freeze. Not enough for court. Enough to make the public tear them apart. Marcus regarded her with respect and fear. You're going to give her a public execution. Nia didn't smile. She simply knew. The final move was coming.